What's good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good? It is Monday night. That is right. We are in November and we are in the off season. So you know how we're about to get down. A lot of Major League Baseball off season talk, a lot going on, and I am very, very excited, as I always am, to be joined by the crew, the homies, if you will. They are in the building, and we will get to each and every one of them. Before we do, we always have to thank our sponsors. That is right, the Players Alliance, who I had the opportunity. I'll tell you guys about it a little bit later, but I had the opportunity to hang out with some of my good friends from the Players Alliance, some of our friends in baseball as well over the weekend. So we had a really, really good time there. But shout out to the Players Alliance, good folks over at Number Game Scorecards as well. I know they're still recovering from the Milwaukee Brewers playoff run, but love the crew over there at Numbers Game. Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, shout out to them. And also Minority Prospects, who is, always really busy, but in the off season, they're even a little bit more busy doing their thing with talent, showcases, evaluation of players, all American games, all of that wonderful stuff. Please check out Minority Prospects as they represent baseball and softball at just very, very high levels. I have teased it. You know, my crew is here. The crew is in the building. Flobo Boyce, the host of In the Booth, featuring Flobo Boyce, is in
That's
the
me.
building. Flobo, how's the all season treating you, my guy?
It was good, man. So every time I go on this show, you be like, "Yeah, I was hanging with the Players Alliance. I didn't call Flobo or nothing, but it was a great
Yeah.
time."
Well, no, you know this one, though. You know this one because I told you I was in your neck of the woods. I spent the weekend in Coney Island on
Let's
Saturday.
go.
So really, really excited to be at Lincoln High School. So we'll
Oh,
talk
nice.
about it in a little bit, but yeah, I know that's your spot. There's Brooklyn Cyclones, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the local team, single A affiliate of your New York Mets.
There you go. So I was right there. It was right. Abraham Lincoln High School is literally right off of the bridge. You just like get off of, I guess it's the Versailles Bridge, and like literally you're right there. You just pull into the high school, but it was wonderful. I do think I got to see like from the outstretches of the Cyclone. I was trying to show Cam. But yeah, we had a great time in Brooklyn, and like I said, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Uh, the host of 10th Inning Talk. A lot of action going on, Miss April. I've been seeing the videos all over the place. All About April is in the building. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay tonight, y'all. I'm ready to talk some baseball, though. I miss baseball. I miss baseball so much.
You had the longest season possible, and now you're like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
man."
exactly. You played to the last game, April. You played to the last game.
And let me add the last game for both college and professional. But yes, I still miss them both.
That is right. I mean, there's a lot to talk about as well. Speaking of those last games, both college and professional, it was highlighted that just record attendance. Not not just attendance, but record number of people watching. I remember we talked about this following the College World Series and the Women's Softball College World Series as well. Both achieved kind of record-setting
Mhm.
viewership. Those games were on ESPN. These World Series games turned out obviously were on Fox, but just I want to say it was like the most watched World Series in I don't know how
Yep.
many like decades. It was really really a winner all the way around for baseball fans and for people that were watching. Do you guys, before we really get into a lot of what we're going to talk about in the all season, uh, is there a particular reason why do you think these games were so well watched and so many fans were into them?
Well, I would say internationally, it's the Otani effect. Period. Full stop. Right. But I also domestically,
Yeah, I was
okay.
gonna say it is true, but
Yeah.
also domestically, it was like one of the most watched World Series ever as well.
I mean,
Mhm.
domestically, I mean, Otani's in that conversation as well. But all due respect, April, the Dodgers are the living, breathing evil empire, and so there's a lot of people that want to see them fall, and there's a lot of people like that. Like
Oh,
a couple of years ago, I went that whole Rangers, that whole Rangers Diamondback series. Yeah, there are a couple scrappy teams, and it's fun for people like me who like chaos agents but it's not really what people tune in to these kind of huge cup-worthy games for or trophy-winning games for. The Dodgers are good. They're a big bad team. Everyone's heard about them. They're not some like new franchise. They have history, and yeah, you either want to see them win the championship or get swept like Ric Flair back in the day. And so that's why I tuned in for sure.
Really? So you think a lot of people tuned in because they wanted to see the Dodgers lose?
I mean, the Dodgers participate. The other fans, I ain't gonna knock the fans out there from watching it, right? Because I live in LA, every TV had it on. But yes, there are people who hate watching the champs. People love winners until y'all start winning, and then it's like, oh man, I'm tired of them winning. Let me stop this.
Well, you know what, Cam, my 11-year-old son was like, the Dodgers win too much. I don't want to see him win, but he watched every game. I was more of the approach of these are like really interesting teams that people wanted to see watch. Now, and here's the thing. I think if you weren't from LA or had some like deep seated connection to the Dodgers, you were rooting for the Blue Jays. But I didn't think people tuned in to watch the Dodgers lose as much as I thought they tuned in. And if they're neutral, kind of their hearts went to the Blue Jays just because of what you said, Flipper. It's like the Blue Jays were kind of this fun, scrappy team, right?
Right. I remember in football, not so much now, but a couple years ago, like there were some people that tuned in to watch Tom Brady lose. That's just, I want to see this guy lose a championship, you know?
Right. Right. All right, April, why do you think the Dodgers draw? Because again, last year's World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees drew a lot, but everybody could do, like you said, everybody could say, well, those are the two biggest, most historic
Right.
franchises in all of baseball. Of course, people are going to watch. But this year's Dodger Blue Jay series drew more fans than the Yankees Dodgers, especially in Game 7. Why do you think so many people were compelled to tune in?
I believe that baseball is on the up and up in general. I think that baseball had already been trending in that direction. We saw with the Yankees Dodgers last year. And then people are literally watching, okay, who is this Shohei Ohtani? Can the Dodgers actually go back to back? I think that they had some really good storylines with this particular World Series that made people want to watch. And I'll say this as a reader, when you have a good book or you have a good plot of something, it makes it interesting. It makes you want to know, okay, so why are they spending all this money on these players? And even if you're not a regular fan of the sport, it is intriguing to want to know. But when you've come off the heel of the Women's College World Series that you had, and even the men's College World Series that you've had, it just really led into the direction of this. And then you have people on all social media platforms talking about postseason baseball from the beginning to the end. You have a classic Yankees versus Red Sox, and then you have the Seattle versus whoever, and then Detroit, and then Cleveland, and all these other teams. Every matchup was literally top tier. So this playoffs, literally, it just fed into each other from the wild card to the division series to the championship series, and then ultimately the World Series. Because why would you beat the Yankees like that? I'm not gonna lie. Even if I don't watch baseball, I'm tuning in to see a team, because why you beat the Yankees like that? Like I need to know exactly why that
I
happened.
demand
And don't
answers.
take the Yankees fans, because don't be in my DMs telling me that I was wrong for that. But I do believe that all of that had the impact. But then when you see a player having a complete game, or when you see a player hitting the way that Vlad Guerrero is, or the way other players have stepped up, like Kirk, and the season Cal Riley has had, you want to tune in. And then you have not just fans, you have players of other sports now commenting, oh my gosh, this is happening. And I can't believe I'm watching something like this. I believe that all of that just played a role in baseball trending in the right direction, because you have LeBron James. I mean, he watches most sports, but if he's sitting down watching every single baseball game and you are a fan of his, you too want to know why this man is sitting at home watching a sport that you've heard, because you probably ain't really watched it, that you've heard is boring.
Shade.
So yeah, I believe all those were factors in the uplifting of our sport.
And credit to
What about
us too, as
yeah, yeah.
creators. You know what I mean? Like, there's the
Yeah.
creator class. There's a lot more out there, a lot more flexible. It looks like MLB is more open to working with creators to make
Yeah.
bite-sized content. Like, you see, the John Boy was out there, and even the people that have affiliation with MLB Threads didn't have a presence at all last year. You know what I mean? Like, there is a concerted effort, and I got to give MLB credit for at least
Yeah.
trying something new. Some things are a little. Sometimes a little cheesy, sometimes a little cringe. But the fact is, I didn't have to watch a game if I'm blacked out or I couldn't get to a game. But you can see the perfect clips, and MLB Europe is showing me all the Blue Jays highlights because they were, MLB. The main site will show me all the Dodgers highlights. You pretty much got all of that,
Right.
and also the commentary too. I dragged Fox last year. I felt like they weren't prepared to tell the storylines. I felt the teams were represented well. I mean, they were the best things ever. I felt like every team felt like they deserved to be there, but it should have been Queens. But every team should deserve to be there, and they gave us a reason why we should care about them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to process this a little bit longer. If you guys are listening, either on the podcast or following live on YouTube or Instagram, drop in the comments why you think baseball, especially this particular year in this particular postseason, got as much audience viewership, got as much kind of fanfare, if you will, more people talking about it than I think ever before. Now, again, there's this thing that happens. We talk about this all the time. You go car shopping, you decide that you like a car that you see in the lot, right? And you don't really notice that car until you see it in the lot and you're like, "Ooh, I like this car." Then
Mhm.
everywhere you go after that, you notice when you see that car. I say that because it's like I didn't really notice a lot of things around the game that I think would bring in fandom or have people more interested until we started doing this every
Mhm.
day and every week. And we're kind of more immersed ourselves in the day to day following and operations of baseball at a bunch of levels. And so by doing so, oh, you notice who this creator is. You notice who this creator is. Like, if I wasn't following as closely as I was following, would I necessarily know who the individuals,
Mhm.
at these places are that I'm following, and I'm watching and I'm reading. And so, of course, I'm going to be a lot more interested, especially what they're doing on the content creator side, social media side, and the journalism side,
Mhm.
which I think all helped me be more interested in the postseason. But I'm interested because I was like, I don't know if all of that, again, along with just really great teams for the postseason, interesting storylines, but it just seemed like everywhere I turned, especially this postseason, there was a lot of like baseball discussion.
Mhm.
And I do think discussion outside of kind of the norm does
Mhm.
get people to pique their interest and be like, well, you know what? The Mariners are playing tonight, and they just played a extra inning game against the Tigers.
Mhm.
Let me go check this out. Or
Mhm.
they just played this marathon. Now they got to go to Toronto. Like you said, Toronto
Mhm.
just beat the Yankees. Let me find out what this is about. So, but I'm interested because I also agree with you, April. I think we're riding a upward trajectory when it comes to baseball and baseball fandom, and people paying attention to the game and the players. And I don't think it's necessarily like this kind of overnight. We had a really great World
Right.
Series and it's going to go away. No,
Mhm.
I think like you're saying, they're kind of building this platform where they're moving uphill on a steady pace, and you know next year should shape up to be pretty like from opening day. I do think there'll be some fans that paid attention to the World Series and then turn around and the World Baseball Classic happens. Then they're going to turn around and see spring training and opening day, and I think they're going to be excited from what happened this last postseason. So
And I would like to add too, baseball is one of the few sports where their season ends at the beginning of the summer, and I'm speaking specifically for college. Their season ends at the beginning of the summer, and then you're going into Major League Baseball. So when I say that, like, it continues on, so it starts off pretty early, February, Marchish, and then, well, they have fall ball right now, but then they continue on. Other sports like college football and NFL, they're playing at the same time. NCAA basketball, they're playing mostly at the same time as the NBA. So I do think that gives us a chance to just continue on with the sport. Maybe the WNBA might be the only one where it differs a little bit from collegiate basketball. So, yeah, I think that's a big factor in all of that. But no shade to the other sports because, I love all sports.
Shake, shake, shake,
But
shake.
from beginning to end, it was really hard not to have your TV on to some game. And I have not felt that same level of excitement watching other games. So when you ask why it was so compelling for people to pay attention to, I do believe that the talk around town is, y'all know everybody wants to be included in something. You don't want to feel left out of something. When
Right.
people are talking about it, they want to know exactly why you keep talking about Shohei Ohtani. Why that
Wow.
man made $700 million? Why you paying $500 million to Vladdy? I want to know too. So I'm going to tune in. And as humans, we're nosy, but we want to make sure that we are in the know for it. And right now, baseball is giving you everything to want to be in the know.
Well, that is true, and I know baseball is giving us a lot this off season. I'm going to default to my guy Flobo Boyce here
Yo,
to
Ah,
man.
hit on some topics and let this keep this show rolling, my guy.
Man, we all have a lot to talk about today on the Black Baseball Mixtape. We got Rookie of the Year awards and that, and also some surprises. But first thing is for me, I came across this yesterday. I got to give out a shout out to the author of MLB.com because it's not my ranking. It's Will Leach's over at MLB.com had the way too early 2026 power rankings. Seems it's not even flipped over the calendar yet, and there's already power rankings. I want to get your opinions about where these teams stand, just because we were talking about the Dodgers. The Dodgers top this power rankings at number 1, followed by the Yankees at number 2, Blue Jays at 3, Mets at 4, Mariners at 5, and everyone knows that I think the Mets are the best team on the planet, but even I have questions, man. April, I know the Dodgers number 1, they're the world champs. Can't dispute that at all, but 2 through 4, what do you think?
uh, I'm definitely scratching my head at 2 through 4 because honestly, I probably would still have the Blue Jays over the Yankees just because, not just because of what we witnessed, but I don't know the moves that they're going to make. I also feel like the manager has shown himself to put his team in a better position to win in some scenarios. So I I definitely see that happening. There are some teams where some people wonder, are they going to be on the up and up? Are the Braves going to do better next year with a new manager? I don't know. Are the Nats probably going to get their turn? Are the Astros going to reclaim their position as the kings of the AL West with them having a healthy squad? There are so many unanswered questions, and so that list, I don't know, but like, how do you even not put the Brewers on there after what they've done? Even if you're not a believer in them, there has to be something where you're like, I'll give them a little bit. So I'm not sure. And also with the Yankees, I feel like they have pieces that they need to pick up on, which they've readily admitted. We know if you watch many of the Yankees folks, they talk about that. So yeah, I'm not sold on that list.
The New York Yankees, to me, had an unbalanced construction and it got exposed their cheats. And the Mets didn't even make the playoffs, and they are ranked higher than the Mariners. I know I don't take too much stock in ranking to an individual, but it does raise some questions to next season, right? You're trying to build your team. If you're like a GM of any franchise and you're trying to build something that can compete with a team like the Dodgers or Yankees, what do you think people are looking for to get themselves in order? I mean, to think that the Mariners we're just a hair away from going to the World Series, being ranked number 5 is kind of weird, don't you think?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So Dodgers 1, Yankees 2,
Blue Jays 3,
Blue Jays 3,
Mets
Mariners.
4.
You said Mets 4, Mariners 5. You know, I think obviously yes, it's way too early. I think everybody can you know take a second in regards to regrouping and analyzing. I mean, on paper, the Dodgers are the best team constructed in not just this year, not just last year, but many years. Like they boast three, MVPs in their top three hitters. They've got like multiple like Cy Young winners or should be Cy Young winners in the lineup. They figured out their closing situation and their bullpen situation. Like they're just a menace on paper, right? Now, with that said, the Yankees have some questions, undoubtedly, right? But if you look at that lineup, you get Garrett Cole back in there at the top of the rotation. You still have Max Fried now. You still have Rodon, and then you're banking on the rookie Schlittner,
Shelton.
and then Luis Heel. You know what I mean? You figure out you still got if Bednard can be the guy that closes down. You still
And
got some work
Garrett.
to do. Yeah, you still got some work to do in that bullpen, but the real question of a team like the Yankees is, are you going to get another, like, what did Jazz do this year? Like 20, 30, 30, 44, something, are you going to get another Jazz Chisholm year the way you got before? Are you going to get another 30 home run year out of Trent Grisham? No one knows about that because they don't even know if Trent Grisham's going to be on the team, right?
Right.
Right.
So what do you do with Cody Bellinger? What do you do
Right.
with, Aaron Judge is going to be Aaron Judge, but there's a Jason Dominguez question that is he even going to be on the field? Um, Paul O'Neill gets older. There's like, I mean, there's not Paul O'Neill,
Paul Goldschmidt.
Paul
Goes-
Goldschmidt. Shout out to the Yankees, though. Shout out to the Yankee legend.
shout,
Like I
shout,
know,
shout,
look,
shout the
I know
broadcast
my,
booth.
yeah, I know my things, man. That's like hard '90s, right? But Paul Goldschmidt, you know what I mean, is a year older as well. So I think I'm not freaking out that you put the Yankees over the Blue Jays. I think a lot of people pick the Yankees over the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays, showed them who they were. With that said, on paper, the Blue Jays I don't think are leaps and bounds above the Yankees. I think on paper the Yankees are better than the Blue Jays on paper.
Wow.
They didn't play the game on paper, right? So you get the Vlad, you get Vlad having one of the just amazing postseasons. You've got you Savage shutting down the Yankees. You know what I mean? You got a lot of things that on paper would probably balance out. Now the Blue Jays. The reports are that the Blue Jays will re-sign Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette wants to be a Blue Jay. That so ideally you'll have Springer, uh, you'll have you'll have Bichette. Not did I say yes? You'll have Bo Bichette. You'll
Mm-hmm.
have
Hmm.
Vladdy back. You'll have that the core of that
Mm-hmm.
team back, so they'll be good. Um, you can't deny Flobo. It's your squad. You can't deny on paper how good the Mets are. So
Um,
I think look, I know what happened because you got to play the games on the field, right?
correct.
But I'm assuming these way too early polls are based on roster construction and who they think are going to be the guys that can deliver. Um, you know, Alonso, Soto, Lindor. I mean, you gotta be kind of impressed with the spending that the Mets did and the roster they put together. It's gotta work. But look at those young guys too. So look at the young guys
Yes.
in the pitching staff that finished the season.
Hmm.
If they start the season, the Jonah Tongs of the world and those guys with a lot of potential, uh, you're looking at a. I don't think on paper they're better than the Mariners. I don't. I would probably flip them, put the Mariners up. So really quickly, Dodgers, Yankees, Blue Jays. Probably put the Mariners up there. Probably say who was there another team I'm missing?
No, that was the four
All
before the
right, but
match.
then again, I mean, who's on the outside looking in? The Phillies, the Brewers, the Cubs. I'd probably
This Phillies
I'm probably
propaganda.
no, I'm probably with April. I'm probably putting the Brewers up there.
Yeah.
I got to see who they're set to lose, but I know that the Brewers. I think is it Peralta is Freddie Peralta a free agent?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it's like you got to see what comes back.
Right.
but I mean, you gotta like the Brewers, right? And shout out to Ricky Weeks, who has got a
Appreciate
recent promotion, if you will.
To answer your question, I think it's the infield construction. The pitching was not good for New York, but they got to decide who's their second baseman, who's their third baseman. You can't be rotating Beatty and Vientos and
Yeah,
using
but those are
Acuna
young.
every day.
Those are
Like it's just
young guys. So I'm with you. Beatty and Vientos and those guys are really young guys, right? That
it.
with a year of development, maybe like you said, a more solidified position, a
Hmm.
little bit more confidence that they're not going to go in and out of the lineup. You know, I, sidebar in the sense, and like I said, I'll talk about this later in the podcast. But I did get a chance to talk to both Chandler Simpson and Victor Scott on Saturday, and one of the things that changed, like being able to talk to major league players that know they're going to be in the lineup every day, it just changes your entire approach
Hmm.
to playing baseball. Like they don't have to look over their shoulder if they're going up, going down, getting taken out of the lineup. I'm not saying that was the problem with guys like Beatty and Vientos and some of those guys, but they weren't in the lineup like every day, pencil them in, like whatever's going to happen, you're going to be there. And I do think that changes guys' confidence, right? It just changes their ability to be their best selves.
yeah.
I remember Lewis talking about that too last season when we were discussing the contracts of Christian Campbell, and we were also talking about the A's players. Um, Not the A's, we did mention Lawrence Butler, who also had his contract, but we were talking about the Angels players and how it was different for a Kyron Paris versus a player who, like Lawrence Butler, who had the contract and he knew, like, okay, I am solidified, I am a part of this team, and things are on the go. So yeah, that level of confidence, knowing that the team believes in you, one, but two, you don't always have to look over your shoulder that the next person is going to take your spot. That does give you a sense of pride to know that you can go out there and play your game without that kind of worry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives them a license to play bad, actually,
Yeah.
with a little bit more. Because again, the
Right.
worst thing a baseball player can do is be tight, right? And if
Right.
you're a guy like Beatty, or you're a guy like Vientos, or you're a guy like who was the catcher, Alvarez.
Alvarez. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're these young guys that are, kind of don't have that like license to be bad, then they get tight, right? The worst thing a
Right.
baseball player can do is get tight, and
Mhm.
you know it just changes things. So
Mhm.
Facts. We got to shift gears a bit because a lot of the end year awards have been trickling in all throughout Major League Baseball. Silver Sluggers went out a couple of days ago. Gold and platinum gloves. I guess shout out to Fernando Tatis. He still does a good job. How about that? All right. And of course, Bobby Witt Jr. on the American League side. Your boy Mookie Betts, the Clemente Award winner this year. Actually, one of the first ones that were announced. But the one that was announced today is the one I want to talk to y'all about. We'll get to the American League side in a bit. But the rookie of the year is now official. And it occurs over at the athletic side. The athletic side, the
Yes.
no name athletics, no city athletics, is a rookie of the year on the American League side. And of course, friend of the show, Drake Baldwin, catcher on the National League side. Chase, let me start with you, man.
yeah,
Drake Baldwin, catchers in the game of a certain skin color, sometimes you don't see too often. They're able to do that with a team that's rebuilding. I mean, shout out to the Braves to give the man a chance, like you were saying, playing every day. But this dude actually excelled.
yeah. No, I mean, look, we were talking about it at the beginning of the season. If Baldwin was even going to stay up and be up on the major
Hmm.
roster, he was benefited from injury, right? So he gets a chance to make the team out of spring training because their everyday catcher is hurt. To be
Hmm.
honest with you, and that's what happened. So Baldwin gets at bats, and I just remember even talking at the beginning of the season, they were saying that Drake Baldwin does everything well, but the question was, could he hit major league pitching at a consistent level?
Hmm.
And I think that Drake Baldwin, not only did he prove that he could hit major league pitching at a consistent level, but he could be a consistent uh, at a consistent batter in a Braves lineup that was struggling. Just to be honest,
Hmm.
the Braves had a down year. They had a down year for a lot of their
That's
marquee
putting it
players.
lightly. A down
Right.
year. That's putting it lightly. Let's be
They had an
real.
awful start.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, awful start, down year, and a lot of it was because, obviously there are some injuries to guys like Acuna, but a guy like Michael Harris, who we love on this show, and we like Mike a lot, had a really slow start to his first half, right? So Drake Baldwin, through not only did he just prove that he's an everyday player, like everyday hitter, everyday catcher. He also proved that he could be a real engine in that
Mhm.
lineup, a consistent engine, which is all you need to do in that sense. He's been consistent and phenomenal this entire season. I do think it's crowded. It's crowded. The Braves will they were able to kind of finesse it at the end of the year when everybody was back to being healthy, where Baldwin would get some at bats, and obviously it helps now that the National League has DHs as well. He's a
Mhm.
catcher, so a lot of catchers don't play every day, and then he's
Mhm.
got you know he, he's just gonna have to figure out. They're gonna have to figure out who's gonna be kind of the everyday catcher there, or are they gonna just kind of rotate? Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Sean Murphy?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're just gonna figure it all out in Atlanta. But they also have a new manager,
Mhm.
Walt Weiss. So we're gonna have to,
We'll talk about that in a minute too.
you're gonna have to figure out how all this fits together. But a huge shout out to Drake Baldwin, somebody that, like I said, we followed on the mixtape since spring training,
Mhm.
and it went from a lot of question marks to this guy being kind of a linchpin, rock solid player in that Braves lineup.
As I can tell right now, he's still in pre-arbitration years, not locked up
Yeah. This
with a
is
deal.
super young.
So, I mean, if the Braves true to their normal way of signing players, I mean, they'd be keen to do that soon if someone's young and athletic. It seems to love the Atlanta, seems to love the team. Baldwin is someone that beautifully excelled, definitely worked their way to push ahead in a crowded field at the beginning of the year. Wasn't on my card. I know you have our predictions of Rookie of the Year. I don't know who I put, but I know I got that wrong. Were you surprised though? Trey walks away with the dub.
I was surprised, but shout out to Malik. I know he's not here tonight, but Malik has been high on Drake Baldwin from the very beginning. So hearing Malik talk about what he's going to bring to the table, it made me focus a little bit more. Because whenever I saw those L's stacking up, I'm like, nah, I don't know, Malik. I don't know what's going to happen here. But he really set himself apart to show that despite what the team was going through, he was a man of his own volition to just go out there, be a good catcher, but also be a good player in that batter's box and do what he needed to do. So I'm very, very happy to see his success happen the way that it did. But I'm also happy to say, like, it just seems like it's the year of the catcher. Like, the catchers seem to be having really, really good years. And on both sides, both the American League and the National League. But for Drake, especially with Acuna being out, it just goes to it leads me to wonder exactly what's more to come because I've already got to see what he can do when the team wasn't performing at their maximum capabilities. But what is he going to do when everyone else is on the team, when they're healthy, when they have the pitchers ready to throw, and when the team can really perform at their best? So I I believe this is just the beginning for him.
Yeah, I don't want to curse anything, but Rookie of the Year awards. I'm just kidding. No, I wish continued success over there, especially Atlanta as they work their way up. Cheats.
I was gonna just say one note that's pretty interesting. Drake Baldwin did start 85 games at catcher and 12 games at DH. So
Okay.
85 games at catcher, 12 games at DH. And then
97.
you turn around and flip that. And it was interesting because Sean Murphy, like we were talking about, started 72 games at catcher and 7 games at DH. So it was really they really just kind of rotated. Obviously, 162 regular season games.
Mhm.
One of them gets 85, the other one gets 70 something. So I
Mhm.
mean, the Braves have a really, really good
System.
kind of situation behind the plate, if you will, down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily one of those like message brothers, but like I feel like there's so many of my friends' kids now. I guess that they're the age where they're playing ball. Where if you are a black kid and you are athletic, they just put you out in the outfield and say, "Yeah, you could do that." And so seeing like Chucky Robinson being able to call a game and look like me or look like the next generation is always a
Mhm.
good thing. I mean, not to make it about
Yeah, I
skin
mean,
color, but it's the Black Baseball mixtape.
no, I mean, I think we're going to see more, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of catchers in the pipeline, African American catchers. I think we're going to see more
Mhm.
of those as we move forward. I think it's one of those things, man. It was like, at one point you have the black quarterback situation in the NFL, and then now in like 2025, you've got over half the league is starting black quarterbacks. I think
Mhm.
one of those things in regards to catchers might be one of the kind of the last frontiers, right? Honestly,
Mhm.
pitchers and catchers. We had more black pitchers, it feels like, in the
Mhm.
70s and 80s than we do now in regards to starting pitchers and those types of things that are African American. But it was a real kind of dearth where we had, back in the day, we really had African American catchers that were of heavy prominence. That just kind of faded away, and it faded away. Um, what we talked about, Flobo, a lot of the coaches looked at athleticism and said, "You're an athlete. You should not be behind the plate.
Right.
You're this great athlete. You should be out in center field or at shortstop or in." And I think they're starting to get back to athlete. One, there's athletes all over the field now,
Right.
and ask Will Smith or anyone who
Right.
who's
Right.
caught 18 innings. Like, but I think you're going to see more of those guys stay behind the plate, and they're coming. Like, if you look at the college, high school All Americans and the college All Americans,
Mhm.
ball, you see
Yep.
more and more African American catchers in the game.
We
Mhm.
have to also go over to the American League side because we have a unanimous winner for Rookie of the Year on the American League. Nick Kurtz, who has really saved my Black Baseball Mixtape Fantasy Baseball team, so shout out to him. Unanimous, man. For a team that, to describe the Athletics, April, as one word, beleaguered. Kurtz and some of the young players have really been a revelation for that squad. I just this week they opened up their social media comments for the first time in
Right.
630 days. Is Nick Kurtz kind of the start of the new wave with Athletic Town? What do you think?
Yeah, but for the A's, it wasn't just Nick Kurtz. It wasn't Jacob Wilson as well. He was
He
also
was number
a
two.
finalist.
Mhm.
And then you also have Lawrence Butler. So I'm actually kind of excited for what's to come with the A's to see that they have these players who are willing to perform, not just willing, but able to perform at such a high level. But then whenever you look at Nick Kurtz's stats, it's just kind of like, dang, bro, like you was out there showing out. Like I saw his batting average. He had 290. I think Roman Anthony had 292 and Jacob Wilson had 311. Like they literally were all right there. But then when you look at everything else, it was like blown away. Home runs, RBIs, OPS. So what will he continue to bring to the table? But as well, he's a first baseman. This has also been a great year for first baseman in Major League Baseball. But for the A's, if they continue on this trend, especially with these young guys performing the way that they are, fingers crossed, maybe it can lead to a little bit more in the AL West. Wishful, hopeful thinking.
Yeah, I think it's kind of appeal now to being like this like rogue team without a city, and they're a bunch of like youth leading
You
them.
like this, Flobo.
This is a bunch of
You like this
vagabonds.
for the athletic.
Hey man, I'm rolling with it. Just for
Right.
context,
Right.
on the American League results, Kurtz was number one, Jacob Wilson number two, Athletics. Roman Anthony was third with the Red Sox, Noah Cameron with the Royals, and Colson Montgomery with the White Sox. And over the National League side, Drake Baldwin obviously got the win, followed by Cade Horton in Chicago, Caleb Durbin and Isaac Collins in Milwaukee, followed by Dylan Lyle in DC. Cheats. I don't know, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, you're a team, but you're like a travel ball team, but it's major league, and then like almost Savannah Banana kind of style. But Nick Kurtz on the poster. Tell me, man, you'll buy a ticket.
No, I mean I'd buy a ticket to see athletics. Absolutely. Not only do they have Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson and our guy Lawrence Butler, they also have the most exciting defensive center fielder that we have seen in a very long time in Denzel Clark. I
Yes.
mean that was a human highlight
Yes.
film, right? So there's a lot to like with the athletics, a lot to see out there, but to be able to see Law and Clark in the outfield together, just roaming out there, that's a lot of fun. I don't know. That's the thing about the athletics. It is great to be young. It is great to be talented. I think the challenge is in Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, for lack of a better term, is a grown man sport. Like,
Amen.
I don't see like a situation, if you will, where the Fab Five comes and there's like, oh, look at this team of young rookies and they're
Right.
gonna win the World Series. I don't even see those guys like those types of teams until they get that maturity and get get grizzled veteran, kind of flavor that they really kind of make it in the postseason and make those runs. You guys tell me, because that's a really good question. When was the last time you saw just like a collection, a large, not even the whole team, but like a large connection of young players at the nucleus of a playoff team? Like this is a playoff team, but when you look at them, like their nucleus is 2 or 3 years in the league.
Wasn't that like the whole 23 Guardians like aura? They're the youngest team in Major League Baseball. Was that 22? No, it's 23. They were like the youngest team in Major League Baseball. They got to like the division series and like, oh man, they're ahead of the program and they'll come back soon. And that was the whole. Am I just making that up? Did that happen?
I I don't know.
Because y'all looking at me like I'm making that up.
I know, no, I don't know. Who's the core? Look, give me the names of the core of that team.
I'm trying to look up the roster here, but April, talk about yourself. So I
Is it
can't
the
think of anything to say.
This is the
Rays?
22 or 23 Guardians.
Can we say the Rays? Maybe that 2020 team. Basically,
Who are the core players on that team? Like who are?
Rosarina, Snell, Glasnow. Wasn't Kiermaier on that team too?
They're
Kevin
pretty
Kiermaier?
young.
I'm pretty sure he was there. Yeah, I would say they're probably the fact that we got to think about it is a big thing. But I would say the 2020 Rays team.
All
Yeah,
right.
really up there. Yeah.
That's it. No, these are good. We got to keep looking it up. If you are following in the comments, that is a really good question for our audience as well.
Now I don't know if they were that young, but they were younger. They were young enough where when you go and look at the pictures, like bruh.
Okay, so I figured this. So the 2022 Cleveland Guardians season. That's
22 Guardians.
At the time, you have Bo Naylor, who was 22 at the time. Gabriel Arias, who was 22. Andres Jimenez, who was 23 at the time. Will Benson was 24 at the time. And Stephen Kwan was 24 at the time as well. So it was like, oh man, the young kids, the youngest team in Major League Baseball. They're going to go ahead and take it over.
Benson an everyday player on that team, though?
No, he was injury riddled. But the idea was like when he's ready, it's going to be like, oh man. Yeah. And next year, when they come back, it's going to be great,
Yeah. No, so I say all that. No, this is awesome. I say all that to say though, I'll find. I think the athletics, as with that young talent, will need to mix in some wily vets before I think people start to take them seriously, even more serious. I mean, I think they've got a lot of talent there, so that's
they
fun.
Do.
Also, as an aside, let's talk about Denzel Clark. Friend of the show, Sean Spradling, had projected Denzel Clark to accept the Canadian assignment for WBC, so that'd be kind of cool to see Denzel show out in the national league level. Absolutely. If he does accept that invitation, or he's offered an invitation.
He definitely should.
For all the flack about playing in a minor league park, the Athletics did pretty well. Like I thought it would have been like totally would make them non-competitive, except for Luis Severino apparently. It would totally make that non-competitive. But the fact that you had multiple players and guys like Brent Rooker, who was like a bona fide Pete Alonso replacement for the Mets a season ago, still making it happen out there has been pretty fun to watch. So Props to them. Even though we haven't got all the end of the year awards coming up, I don't know if you want to do any prior predictions now or change our predictions because Cy Young, MVP, and also the Manager of the Year has not been announced. According to MLB, Manager will be announced tomorrow or by the time you listen to this today on the 11th, the 12th being the Cy Young winners, and the 13th being the MVPs. Do we want to talk about our predictions? Do we have those predictions, April?
We have. I mean, we predicted them. I am not changing any of mine.
I just want to see how wrong I am.
Who did I say for Rookie of the Year, though? Did I not say Drake Baldwin?
I think we didn't do Rookie because I was like, it's hard to call Rookie of the Year.
Did we not do it?
I don't know.
I will say this.
We did not.
And I don't know. I've got to look at how many games the Nationals Lyle played, but I feel as if it's unfair for him to be in this category. He was voted upon. I guess he was eligible this year for Rookie of the Year. Drake Baldwin wins it, but I don't know how many games he played, and I feel like he's gonna fall into this window where I think if he had played more games at the rate that he was playing, because he was absolutely amazing, he would have been like higher, but he's also not eligible for Rookie of the Year anymore. So that makes me sad.
Eligibility is so
Jalen Lyle.
Because like you look at your Savage, who could be eligible next year to be Rookie of the Year. You know, he pitched in the World Series this year. It's like
that's fair. He only pitched like 5 games all season, right? Like,
hey, I'm just saying. I thought of him pitching in 2025 because I saw it with my own eyes in 2025. But the rules are all kind of different,
right? Well, Mizorowski, would he be eligible next year as well?
He debuted before September. I would say he wouldn't, but I'm obviously guessing. I don't even know.
Okay. I mean, all right. So maybe I take this back. 162 games. Dylan Lyle played in 91 of those games, right? So 91 of those games, he batted .299, 9 home runs, 41 RBIs. I mean, it's pretty good, but I think he should have been. I mean, he's not Drake Baldwin numbers, but 91 games out of 162. I think that constitutes a rookie year.
Yeah. April, predictions. Am I close?
Okay, so we did not choose a Rookie of the Year because we said that it was going to be too much going on with that.
For the record, I would have picked Drake Baldwin.
Yeah, of course. For the record, I was going to be right.
If you watch any Finish Your Breakfast episode, I would have been right on both of these.
Yeah, but I would have picked Ty Paris and what I'd have been. So
I agree. Now, in regards to, do we want to go with
Cy Young will be the 12th of November. That's first. Let's do that.
Huh? Cy Young?
Cy Young, yeah.
Okay, so NL, let's do AL Cy Young. Cheats and Lewis and me all had Boston Red Sox, Garrett Crochet.
Who's a finalist, right?
Yes, he is a finalist, and he is a finalist along with Tarek Skubal and who's the other finalist?
Hunter Brown.
Yes, Hunter Brown of the Houston.
I'm gonna lose that then. We're all gonna lose that.
Flobo, your pick was Cole Reagans, and Malik's pick was Luis Castillo. So
I definitely lost that one.
I'm a little strong for Garrett Crochet because I'm not mad at my pick because he showed out in the postseason the way that I think that he will.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to lose, right?
I'm about to say, however, I think we all know Tarek Skubal is going to be a back-to-back.
Yeah, but Crochet was a great pick. It's a great pick.
Yes, fantastic.
Predictions just prove I don't know ball, but continue.
All right, now for the NL. Cheats, you had Corbin Burns. Flobo, you have a free agent. Michael.
Okay, nice.
These are the preseason picks because I feel like picks like maybe at the beginning of the postseason where I was a lot better at.
No, I mean they were different. But we're not better.
Malik and Lewis, I think they got it right. They both chose Paul Skeens.
Crazy.
And I was all alone in my lonesome pick of Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
And we laughed at you.
Y'all did.
And he's a battlist.
And you know what? Sometimes you got to stand alone whenever you know you're right.
That's true.
But it's going to be
crazy.
Huh?
It should be Skeens.
It's going to be Skeens.
But the fact that Yoshinobu Yamamoto has such a wonky season the season before, and April picked him, we were like, nah, and he's there. I was like, oh dang. She was
And
right
he
all
had
along.
2 complete games in the postseason, not just that, 2 complete games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a regular
good
season award. Yeah, that's crazy. And MVP, I know I got that one wrong because I would not have picked Shohei Ohtani.
Now I want to do comeback player because
Okay.
it's gonna be funny. All right, for the AL, Cheats, you had JP Crawford, which I think that he's shown himself to be a pretty good player. A great comeback player. Flobo, you and I both had Mike Trout, who played more games this year than he's played in the past however many years.
It's also his worst season offensively, but he came
Yeah,
back.
he did.
Heart.
Yeah, take him.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. The Bless Your Heart Award goes to.
Malik had Trevor Story, and Lewis had Boba Fett. And considering the postseason Boba Fett had, shout out to him. So yeah, that was a pretty good pick.
Who won the comeback player award on the NL side?
I
Cunha?
don't think they've announced it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for the NL side, comeback player Cheats, you had either Mike Harris or Ronald Acuna Jr., Flobo, Malik.
Both wrong, by the way. Both
Flobo,
not correct.
Malik, and Lewis all had Sandy Alcantara. And I had,
Also wrong.
yeah, I was wrong too. I had Matt McClain of the Reds, so all wrong.
Wow.
Now, in regards to MVP, AL, Cheats had Gunnar Henderson.
I had the Orioles in the World Series. This is my justification.
You did.
All
Flobo,
wrong.
you had Bobby Witt. You did.
He got us what's that, platinum glove? That's something.
He did. Malik had Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
Lewis had Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Aaron Judge, which y'all also laughed at me about.
I mean, I still would though. I mean, let's be real.
Nah, he's gonna be MVP. Nobody
really?
had Kyle Raleigh.
Aaron Judge.
I mean, he was a catcher, right? But now
Right. Nobody had Kyle Raleigh. Nobody thought of that.
Yeah.
And for the NL MVP Cheats, you had Francisco Lindor.
Should have won it.
Damn Mets.
Not how I feel, man.
Right.
Malik had William Contreras. Lewis had Juan Soto, who is a finalist.
He is
a finalist. And then,
He's
of
wild.
course, Flobo and we both had Shohei Ohtani.
Because the MVP award is broken. And they're going to give him it is. They're going to give that guy MVP awards because the Dodgers are still a World Series team without him. They don't need Ohtani.
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves it.
So yeah, those were our picks. We did not do manager of the year, but I did remember saying that I would have chosen the Mariners manager, and I think Cheats, you said you would have chosen the
Schneider
manager.
Yeah, I had Schneider and Murphy. Again, I remember these picks. I don't remember these before the season picks. I feel like my postseason picks, I was 100% right.
No, you were not. Yeah, you get the Phillies win the whole thing.
I was accurate on everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about moving on. Before we move on, though, to our next topic, though, we got to give a shout out to Numbers Game Scorecards. Bam! The Players Alliance Cheats best friend who somehow never calls me when they're around. Minority prospect and the return of Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds for supporting the show. Man, I appreciate all your help to make this show and our shows in the booth and Hit and Talk possible. One of the storylines I thought would have gone longer into the off season, but apparently kind of got wrapped up pretty quickly, was all the managerial vacancies from some of the teams. Somehow Aaron Boone still has a job, but there was 8 teams that needed managers. A lot of them already got filled. And here's what we have so far. The Rockies are still looking for their head manager, but the Padres have signed Craig Stammen. The Braves have Walt Weiss. The Nationals, Blake Blue Terra, the Twins hired Derek Shelton, who was actually my pick to win manager year before he got fired in Pittsburgh. The Orioles, Craig Albernaz, question mark. What's going on, Cheats? The Angels, Kurt Suzuki, because I guess he showed up on time to that open call. And the Rangers, Skip Schumacher. The 2 big things that are taken away here is the Giants. with Tony Vitello coming over from the barrier of college ball. And why doesn't Pujols have a job? What is going on, Cheats? Talk to me about this crazy managerial shopping spree in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pujols is going to be an interesting story, right? I think he's a
Mhm.
big story. I still, I don't have any kind of evidence on this, but I believe Ron Washington was out because the Angels really thought they had Pujols wrapped up, like they had Pujols as this inside track, right?
Mhm.
But they don't get Pujols, then they have to, settling is the wrong word. Congratulations to Kurt Suzuki, he gets the job in
Placeholder.
LA. But I really think that I think it was Pujols' job, and for some reason they could not get to go. With that said, both the Padres and the Orioles both expressed a lot of interest in Pujols as well, and he's still,
Mhm.
like you said, without a job now. Pujols, what he'll do right now, anyway, and we were talking about this over the weekend, is that he's the head coach of the Dominican World Baseball
Mhm.
Classic team,
Mhm.
and he also, I think, he coaches winter ball as well.
Mhm.
If he continues to prove his merit as a coach, which he has done, I don't think that was the issue this time around. I think there were some money and fit issues more than anything else.
Mhm.
But he's gonna get a big time job. Like if he
Mhm.
takes the Dominican team, I don't even think they have to win it all. But if they take them to the finals or take them well beyond their disappointing kind of WBC result last
Mhm.
time around, I think he's gonna be marked for a really big job coming up. And I just don't know what it is with his team and his camp that is not making these kind of interviews and these interests stick. But I think it will. I think he'll get a shot. And I think going into 26, there'll probably be also some, like we said, some in season stuff, managerial like expectations and people getting let go early. Where
Mhm.
Pujols' name will be thrown
Mhm.
around until he gets one of those jobs. Of the
Yeah.
others ones that you mentioned, there's a couple things that I think obviously we talked, I want to say on the last podcast about the Giants and um the jump that their Buster Posey is expecting Tony Vitola to make. They also secured Bruce Bochy over there, so we're talking about that as well last episode, so I won't belabor that, but I do think that's a fascinating story about what's going to happen in San Francisco.
Real
Of the
quick,
other
jumping in about
uh,
Pujols. So he is the manager of the Dominican baseball team and also the Leones del Escogido in the Dominican League. So he does have managerial jobs. To your point.
Yeah, as I said, I think he kind of, once they figure that out, he'll still be in line. His name will still be a very hot topic in coaching circles for a while. Um, there's the couple guys that I'm gonna see. I'll be interested to see like who does well. And again, I live in Virginia. The teams I follow the closest are the Orioles and the Nationals. Both of them have new managers, so I'm looking at both of them, right? The Orioles manager, really well regarded. He comes over from the Guardians organization. You know, not one person. I haven't heard one person say a bad thing about him.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I do think that he said all the right things at the press conference. Is Albernaz, right?
Yeah. Greg
Says all the
Alvarez.
right things at the press conference, and I just think that he is going to be a good manager in Major League Baseball. The question is he going to be a good manager now with this team that they have?
Right.
And we'll have to figure that out. And then the Nats, they keep doing Nats things. um, I think the manager that they hired just got his driver's license yesterday, right? Is that
And
It's
he's
like
a
what,
uh
30, 32 years
Louisiana
old?
guy.
33, I believe.
33
33.
Yes.
years old.
And but here's the thing, man. Their whole vibe over there now with Tabusi is going to be young, hot, exciting. Let's get it going, and I'm excited to see kind of how that plays out as well. So, of the managerial spots that I'm looking at, obviously you're looking at San Francisco. You're looking at the Orioles gig. You're looking at the Nats gig. Orioles and Nats are two teams that have really, really young talent that these young managers are going to have to be able to work through.
You raise a good point. You look at the NL East team. I know Shea Stadium or Citi Field gets like some props for having activities, but there really isn't a party squad franchise. If federal ball wants to do that, that's cool. But April, I know you are a baseball lover of all different levels, and I'm sure that you've seen the archetype of like the grizzled manager that is knows ball. A lot of these hires, I'm not knocking them. I don't know much about them, but they seem on the
Right.
outside looking in very non-traditional to what we think of a baseball manager, like the Buck Showalter type, or the Joe Madden type. Like, what's going through your mind when you seeing these lists of new hires?
For me, it seems like that goes back to what I mentioned last week when we talked about the Tony Vitello hire. I really think that some of the GMs or the people who are doing the hiring, they're like, might as well try something new. Why not do it? We tried the other people. We are recycling the same people, and I don't want to recycle the same people. I want to use someone else. I want someone else to have a say so in how my organization or how my team performs. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The thing is, we don't know exactly how it's going to go. So I don't even know in what direction we can take it. My three teams that I had on watch were the Nats, of course, because I love watching the Nats, and the new manager. He's a Louisiana guy. He's from New Orleans, Mandeville in particular. I also am curious of exactly what the Braves are going to have with their new manager, because I saw split sides in regards to reactions to the hire. I saw some people be like, "Yay, we got someone who already knows the system,"
They just
and then I
want
saw
right.
some
What
people,
was?
yes, I saw some people like, "Oh, same old, same old." So I think it's interesting to see the response of it. But then my third one was Skip Schumacher. Like, he is one of the traditional guys and one of the few who has that. So what what is he going to bring? Because Texas is already making some changes. That's why Bruce Bochy is now with San Francisco. I forgot, of course, I'm watching San Francisco, but I'm looking at those and what exactly is all of this going to bring? And are, with some of the positions still open, we have still, isn't San Diego still open?
No, the San Diego signed Craig
Yep.
Stammen. The only other open position is Colorado. They have their new baseball operations, preservation
Yes,
operations, with no manager.
I just saw they hired him. So what exactly is that going to bring? I don't know. Are they going to go the traditional route, or are they going to follow this same trend where you see people who don't particularly or haven't particularly been in these roles move up to these positions? I don't know, but I'm excited.
I want a purple Pujols jersey. So Albert, if you're listening, I want to see you in Denver. Just go out there, let it know. I would fly out to see a game. That's manager Albert Pujols.
I want to know that. Listen, I like Pujols, so I kind of want to know that the Rockies are trending in the right direction before he takes that job. Because sometimes it's things above you that prevent you from performing your duties. So I would prefer that first for him.
I hear you, but I feel like if you look at the major league teams, most of them are going the wrong direction. Just pick one, man. Just whatever bus you want to catch at this point, man. But
So that's
yeah,
why, look, sometimes it's not your time. Wait your time before you just take anything and say, I'm finally a manager, and then, that messes up your resume. I don't want his resume to be messed up. Go and show out with the Dominican Republic team, the other team you mentioned, and when the right opportunity presents itself, boom, you in there.
not to mention, he's actually one of the general managers of one of the Baseball United teams that's going to
Right.
be launching next week in United Arab Emirates. I'm not sure how much time he's going to spend out there, but I mean, his name is on the plaque.
Not much.
I'm just mentioning he does for a living, okay? I got
I
10
don't think
jobs
it should
too,
be
you
that
know.
much.
Well, we did see a lot more rookie managers, cheese, and sometimes they work out. I mean, Carlos Mendoza was a rookie manager, and he
Mhm.
did okay for his time.
Yep.
And we're seeing the idea of that the manager just puts the lineup card in the slot, but they kind of listen to the baseball analytics office. They won't beat the allegations with some of these hires, but a lot of me tells me that, hey, maybe Young is the way to go. You look at what Venable's done on the south side of Chicago. Should we see more of these younger managers, or is this going to be a trend that's going to pendulum back to the old school flair?
I think it pendulums back. I mean, I like in theory, you always like to see new blood in Major League Baseball, especially in the managerial chair. However, I do think that this one, like the numbers that are available and where they landed, feels to me as like a lot of the like. Look at the Angels. Look at the LA deal for Suzuki. It's a 1 year deal with like I just feel like they're Nationals again could be a fantastic coach. 33 years old. He hasn't been a head coach before. Orioles, they kind of got a fairly young guy that's never been a head coach before. This is baseball, and I do think it will swing back to some of these elder statesmen, if you will, to
Yeah.
come in and stabilize these ships. The Dusty Baker, Bruce Bochy types of the world, just depending on what the situation is. But I do think it's like all of these teams, man, they're in their hot girl summer phase, right? They're like they're they're hiring
My
they're
word,
hiring
sir,
no, seriously,
sir.
they're hiring the new like summer body, right? Like the new one. And well,
Oh my
again,
God.
it'll be I think it'll take a while to correct like kind of balance each other out, like balance out. Now the young guys that can coach and a lot of them have great pedigree, they'll stay. They'll figure it out. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But I do think that there's going to be some turnover. One thing that is also always concerning, and again we talked about this last week as well, is that there are guys out there, man, like Tony Beasley, who's a longtime third base coach for the Rangers. That when Bochy decided he wasn't coming back, Tony Beasley's like, I'm not retiring, but he's not in Texas, I don't believe anymore.
Mhm.
Um, Don Mattingly walked away from
The
being
Blue
the bench
Jays.
coach at the Blue Jays. He also said, I'm not retiring. I'm just, kind of looking for my next opportunity. Um, Ricky Weeks, we talked about, who was the associate head coach or the associate, manager with the Brewers the last couple of years. I think he actually made it through. He was with Council and stayed from Greg Council and Pat Murphy. Like these are all guys. These are they're guys in these lineups that should be or really should be considering being head coaches, and they've done everything the right way. They've been there with the organizations for a really long time, and the idea that a lot of the guys have a lot less experience than some of the names that you're mentioning that are getting these roles. You gotta ask yourself like what's happening, why that is are some of these guys not making the right moves to be put in positions to be hired. So I mean, I don't know all the science, but I to answer your question in short and directly, I don't think this particular trend stays
Mhm.
long term. I think it balances itself out. And then the last thing I'll say on this is there is a question about some of these contracts and some of these hires. It's like, are they, is organizations preparing, to be locked out for a long time?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And what happens after they are locked out or if that happens. So there's just a lot in the back of the mind, I think, of these organizations.
Real quick, April, if you were Don Badley, what would you do next?
Shoot. Well, I was shocked he left the Blue Jays, and I'm actually curious as to why he left. But I go to a team with some promise. Why not? I'm on the end of my career, and if I feel like I can offer something of significance to them, that's exactly what I do. The question is, where exactly does he want to go,
Mhm.
and what team offers him the best kind of promise? Because what looks like a promising team to me may look differently to him, especially with the knowledge and information that he has um, on the inside. So I don't know. I've considered that. Whenever I saw that he left, I'm like, well, where exactly are you gonna go, Don? You go back to the. I know you're not going back to the Yankees. Are you going back to the Yankees? Are you doing? Are you going to the West Coast? Like where do you want to be?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but again, I don't see him going to. No offense, yeah, I know I like the Nats. I don't see him going to the Nats. I see him going to, again, or the Angels. I see him going to a team with some kind of promise where he can add value, and the value will be accepted and reciprocated.
Hmm. Yeah.
And to be honest, Mattingly, he doesn't necessarily fall in the category of some of these guys because he's had two managerial jobs, right?
Right.
He's managed the
Hmm.
Dodgers and the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yes, I don't know where he ultimately ends up, and I'm sure he's going to want to be a head coach again or manager somewhere. But there's some of these guys that are making all these moves and have never had the opportunity to be head
Right.
coach.
Well, a story tonight was the one that kind of like, to me, dominated my headlines from all over my friends and from different sports fandom. It is that Luis Ortiz Hermano Clase situation. It
Yeah.
turns out the probe is pretty much done and dusted, and both men are facing up to 65 years in prison for actually influencing the game to somehow get themselves financially ahead with some betting. Maybe throwing some balls for pitches for balls in the course of a game, which is a whole other level than just betting on sports. Here's the deal. Didn't think it will happen, but now sports betting is ever prevalent. The fear now is that it may happen more and more. Cheats, I'm gonna start with you. Two
Yeah.
players that were in their prime were making millions upon millions, have threw it all away for less than a normal person's salary in the United States. Thoughts?
Yeah, no. One, my biggest thought is I'm really taken back that this is not a bigger story, and I don't know what I know why I think it's not a bigger story, but it should be a bigger story, right? Like it should.
Mm-hmm.
This should be along with the NBA gambling scandal and
Mm-hmm.
all the other stuff. Like these should be massive, massive stories,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not as big as
They're
they
not.
should be. They're big stories, but they're not as big as they should be because every major network takes money from sports gambling.
Right.
Like
Right.
they do. They're sponsored by FanDuel and DraftKings and all the other sports books, and you know there's just intertwined to the point where they really can't they can't come down as hard as I think they should be able to come down or even make it a bigger story than they should. With that said, these guys are adults. They're grown, they're grown men, and they should be making uh they know the rules. They should be making decisions that are true to the integrity of the game and true to their club, if anything. Like they're not just cheating the sport, which they are, but they're cheating their own team in many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a lot that goes into this, and it is extremely, extremely disappointing, but
Mm-hmm.
I do not think it's I don't think it's something that's gonna go away. And we
Mm-hmm.
talked about, again, in connection to some of the gambling scandals recently that have popped up in the NBA, and it's not just like we're still looking at kind of the players on the field, right? We're looking at these two pitchers, we're looking at, players whether they're, trying to intentionally get taken out of the game to make an under type thing. But it's so like this could be so prevalent. And what I mean by that is we're not really, especially in baseball, we're not really looking at the umpires. We're not really looking, um, wider scope of the gambling situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before we figure out an umpire got compromised or, a
A
scorekeeper.
manager.
Yeah, a scorekeeper gets compromised where you wouldn't think of like, oh, is that a hit or an error in terms of gambling situation? But if the scorekeeper is compromised, it may affect the game. You know what I mean? So, really, really disappointing for the two individuals. But I just think it's the start of a real problem that uh, all of sports, but in particular Major League Baseball, is going to have to handle because again, we got to call it a spade a spade. This is 2 years in a row where huge stories in Major League Baseball involved gambling scandals. One, obviously, the start of last season with Ipe and Shohei, and now this one, and they're both bad. When you look into it, they're both bad. And if you look into it, they both should have been bigger stories than they were. And you kind of wonder why they weren't. Even the Shohei story, as big as it was at the beginning of last season, wasn't as big as it should have been.
Right,
If
because
you
it was a
really look
grand
at it,
deception. Shohei
yeah,
said it
if
was a
you
grand
really
deception.
look at it, it was not nearly as big as it should have been. Roddy Shohei's the biggest like global athlete in the world, and the guy closest to him is implemented using his money, using Shohei's money. It wasn't. They did a really good job of moving on.
Yeah, yeah, it was a grand deception. That's what he said. Just, April, I know that the betting situation is not going to go away, but it does seem like the robo umps can't save it. It does seem like no MLB investigation is going to prevent all of it. What can baseball do to basically stop the amount of potential for things like this?
At this point, and in this economy, not a doggone thing. Because I have students talking about their parlays in class. So this is beyond the scope of just doing or whatever you thought this was. This is huge. And I don't even know how you minimize the effect of it, especially when, I'm watching TV and then I see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen, or whenever I open an app and boom, an advertisement is right there. It's literally everywhere. So even if they want to gain a handle on it, people are always going to just get smarter at how they do it. They're gonna find ways to not get, or hopefully not get caught. And even when Cheats was talking about, now you have to worry about exactly who is compromised. Because sometimes I'm like, you really pulled that picture. Why you pulled that picture?
Right.
Like everything now in my mind goes to, is this a decision made out of a good conscious decision, or are you making this decision for other reasons? And we shouldn't even have those kinds of questions as we are watching the game. I don't have an answer to how MLB can, or any sport can, truly minimize the effect of what has happened, because once you've opened the door for it, everybody involved with it, they've already figured out ways to go around the system, or to figure out ways around it. And you can't beat people who are always going to be a step ahead of you. So that is the challenge now. How do you even try to fall in the same step with where they are? But for players getting involved, like when I was reading the stuff from the NBA stuff, I was just like, okay, this is crazy. But then you read the Class A stuff, and my question is, why? Like, I mean, obviously, I get why, but what you were making from it didn't even compare to what you had outside of it. Is this a power thing? Uh, is this something for fun? Are you helping someone else? Are you think you're helping someone else? I don't even understand the scope of it. So, but at the same time, like I always tell people, I can't understand something that I would never do either. So I literally need you to explain it to me like I'm 5. But I don't have an answer for how baseball makes something out of this, because now the game is compromised in all sports, and now you're questioning exactly who it is, like what's happening. And the last thing I will say, I remember telling my dad, I'm like, as an individual, you really have to have a clean life outside of whatever you're doing. Because when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that makes you more susceptible to when they come knocking. Like you not being faithful to your wife, you got some
Right.
skeletons in your closet. That is what makes you more susceptible to become a part of these schemes as well. It's not just you doing it because you're wondering why they do it. You have to be completely clean where those things, the door can never be open for that too.
when I first heard that, as far as like the amounts that were wagered versus the amounts that was on a salary, the first thing that went to my head, again, I'm just speculating, I don't have any inside knowledge, was that his income was illiquid. I wasn't sure if like they had it in trust or how some of the athletes that come of the DR have basically mortgaged their future earnings to somebody else. To
Right.
me, it looked like I needed the cash to do it. I need that cash now. That $1 million check ain't going to help me. But
Mhm.
again, this is not an excuse. Even if that is the case, again, I'm only speculating that isn't the case to even do something like that. Because now, I mean, you're a role model, man. You're seen by millions of people. You got to think about that as well. But I'm not one to speak from the pulpit. I've done some plenty of unhanded things, especially with bets. I don't play baseball. Cheats, man. I mean, you are the proud. You have a son, and they probably watch like the DraftKings jingle and ESPN points bet. Is that something you have to sit down and like discuss, like what betting is and what it is, or is it kind of like,
Yeah, no, I mean, look. Full disclosure, I sports bet. I have the app on my phone, and every once in a while, we'll bet on Lord knows what,
hey,
and
it's illegal over here in California, so
he knows that like we can do it, or we talk to our buddies that do it, and so forth. I think the challenge with any young person is that they've got to fully understand that gambling can be an addiction just like anything else. It can be
Mhm.
alcoholism, it can be drugs and so forth, and we're actively teaching our children, hopefully we're actively teaching our children the dangers of those addictions, and we have to treat sports betting like one of them. He knows dad bets on games. He also knows dad bets $5 on games. He
whoa.
yeah, he's not, dad is not going to break the bank
Right.
on any particular bet. But hey, look, other people will say that what I just said out of my mouth, and $5 becomes $10, $10 becomes
Mhm.
$100, $100 becomes $500, and it's spiraling, like they're completely out of control. You got to keep all of that stuff in perspective. But I do think so. You add, as a parent, you've got to add these things to the list of conversations, a
Mhm.
ever growing list of conversations that you have to
Mhm.
have with your child. Because again, if this is 15 years ago, you're not talking to your kid about social media. He's in fifth grade. Every kid is has all the social media trends. Like they have them all. They're watching YouTube. We're having discussions about roadblocks and can he even play it, or why are people suing the game? Like we're trying to educate ourselves on all the dangers that 11-year-old kid can face along with this new stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, like the short answer is yes, we have conversations as much as possible, and then we just try to like try to guide him in the right direction of making sure he has a good friend circle. He obviously,
Mhm.
sports is a big part of his life. Baseball is, and again, we'll talk about it because he had an amazing time this weekend in Brooklyn. Um, but there's so much to all of that. And he sees it. But he also saw steroids. Like he was a huge Fernando Tatis fan, and then Fernando Tatis gets busted for steroids, and he's wrestling with that at a very young age. Like
Mhm.
at a very young age, he's trying to wrestle up. Do I still like Fernando Tatis? Do I still want to wear my Fernando Tatis
I
jersey?
felt that way with Marion
And
Jones. I hear you.
a lot of kids, um they're a lot more like, as adults we're a lot more, hey, we live life, we make mistakes, we understand. Kids are like, nope, he's out. Like
Yes.
he let
Canceled.
he let me down. And so, right, and so that's the truth. So yeah, it's you know
Full disclosure, I cross the border to Nevada every March, and I put like $60 on the Mets to win the World Series. And every year they try to stop me. That's how bad that bet is. They're like, "You sure, sir?" But I do it. It's fun, and if I lose it, which I usually do, no sweat off my back. Never gamble away the rent, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, we're still trying to get our FanDuel, Caesars, MGM bet. We're trying to get all those sponsorships here over. Look, well, you've made it when they start calling and telling you, we can be on DraftKings and FanDuel and all that stuff. We're not there yet. Black Baseball Tape is Mixtape is not there yet.
Oh,
Um, but with that said, yeah, man, it's prevalent. It's all over the place. I don't think you're going to be able to, like NIL, you're not going to be able to put the toothpaste back
Right.
in the tube. And so, you got to figure out how to kind of navigate these new waters, no matter who you are. And, parents are not immune to that. Yeah.
Well, Cheats, man, thanks so much for giving me the wheels of the car, driver's seat, swerve, drifted in
Yeah,
traffic,
man.
Tokyo drift style. A lot of fun. Black Diesel mixtape. Yeah.
So, I've been alluding to it, but I will briefly talk about it. There will be more videos to come in the next couple of days, but a huge, huge, huge shout out to the Palacios brothers, both Josh and Richie, who hosted their Built Different camp on Saturday in Coney Island, Abraham Lincoln High School. It was just a perfect, perfect day. We were really, really blessed with I want to say it was like a 65, 67-degree sunny day out in Brooklyn. They had over, I want to say originally they might have had 240 kids register, all between the ages of 10 and 12. The camp was supposed to start like in-person registration or check-in, if you will, at 11 a.m. Because we were coming from out of town. Cameron and I got there around 10 a.m. And would you believe there was already like a line of kids
Mhm.
at 10 a.m. to start checking in at 11. Ideally, the camp was going to start at noon. I believe at noon they were still checking in kids
Wow.
as it was going through. They did a phenomenal, phenomenal job. All baseball camps should be this fun, like DJ out there playing stations of the kids just having fun and playing the game. It was not a showcase camp or a really heavily instructional camp. It really was hey, let's get a whole bunch of kids out on this kind of football field and softball and just like have fun. Like figure out they did some, drill type stuff, but most of it was just a lot of fun. Shout out to our friends from the Players Alliance that were there. Ellison was there and Todd was there. Shout out to the Players Association. I got Kevin was out there. Your boy Flobo, uh, Billy,
Who that?
Billy. Nah, the Billy that does. I believe he was an in the booth
Bill,
guest.
Bill the Bat Boy, or
Billy the Bat Boy. I got to meet
okay,
him and his wonderful father. He was
Wow.
there as well. Some of the pros that came through. A lot of camps advertise pros, and usually you get there and it's like, oh, this guy got caught up in this guy got
yeah,
caught up in travel. This guy couldn't make it. I'm gonna forget some people, but like I said, it was Taj Bradley from the Twins,
Okay.
Chandler Simpson from the Rays, Victor Scott from the Cardinals were all there. George Valera um, from the Guardians, who is also like a New York City zone person there. Akil Badu was there. Jalen Palmer, also New York City zone, was there. Obviously, Richie and Josh. They had wonderful coaches and instructors out there as well. Shout out to my guy Will from the Players Alliance. Everybody was out there, man, and it was really, really cool to be a part of. Get to see it firsthand. Uh, oh God, a couple of the influencers too. Like, I mean, it was they look they bought the city out, they bought the crowd, the kids out, they bought the folks out as well, man. And so I'll be posting pictures of everything, but I wanted to shout out Built Different um and everything that they had going on. Cam had a blast as well. A little nervous because he didn't know any of the kids. He's coming from Virginia up to New York City, and but by the end of the couple hours that were out there, he had a bunch of friends and they were doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. So that was just awesome. So shout out to Built Different, and we're gonna this is just the beginning of my camp schedule. There's a lot of MLB players that are hosting their own camps and community give
Right.
back, and I can't go to every one of them, but I can go to a lot of them if we get that get the heads up and make it work out. So shout out to them. It was fantastic.
Let us know if you have any in the Houston area for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many, so much happening.
that's what's up.
All right, Flobo. That's it, Flobo. Or
That's it, man.
we're
I'll say
closing
thanks
it
so
out.
much for joining us.
Hey,
Yes.
so in the booth in 10th inning talk, what do we have coming up?
Man, today we have. I'm gonna after this podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and post the podcast for the other podcast. Hanging out with Jelly Washington, who was a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays, the Black Jays Project. So we talked about what it means to find black fans of Toronto Blue Jays. I actually recorded it the day after the World Series, so we had a bit of a therapy session. But it's gonna be a good episode. That's up this week and in the booth.
Perfect. April, what do we got in the 10th inning?
Okay, so number one, if you are a fan, of course, and you are missing some baseball, be prepared to watch the MLB Awards. That will be on Thursday. All of the things that we were talking about in regards to Cy Young, MVP, you will get your answers, and then we're going to talk about them next week. Also, next Thursday, so Thursday seems to be the fun day. Next Thursday, the WPBL, the Women's Professional Baseball League, will be holding their very first or their inaugural draft. So you want to be in tune for that as well. I know. And I also have some fun guests cooking up on the podcast. So make sure you are always tuned into 10th inning talk. And then last thing, y'all remember I did the bracket for MLB and your girl came out second. So shout out to me for coming out second with my MLB bracket on Threads. Yeah.
The team names to be released for the women's league yet, or no?
No, well, the cities have been that, and for those of you who aren't followed, make sure you follow me on TikTok and also on YouTube. That's where I primarily post. On TikTok at All About April 3, and on YouTube, 10th Inning Talk. And the four host cities are going to be Boston, New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And San Francisco has the number one pick for the WPBL.
All right. Well, there you have it. Flobo, you did an amazing job holding us
You
down.
did.
We appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. We are out, and we'll catch you very, very soon.